Despite the fact that Wise football went 14-0 in 2015, the Pumas were even more dominant this season, repeating as undefeated 4A Maryland State champions, with their closest game being an 18-point victory over PG County rival Eleanor Roosevelt. I chatted with Wise head coach DaLawn Parrish and asked him if he would have thought if I was crazy if I would have told him a few years ago that he would coach back-to-back unbeaten state champs.
I don't know if I thought you was crazy. I would say we'd have evolved by then, and that's pretty much what happened. We just grew, Fortunate to get Jabari Laws into the program. He helped change the game for us.
And how was he able to go ahead and do that for you?
His knowledge of the game. He was the first pure QB that I ever had in my program. Normally, we're converting former wide receivers and running backs and things of that nature. And we had athletes at quarterback. He was the first guy that actually played quarterback his whole career in Little League football. His knowledge of the game, his throws, being able to make all the throws, and understanding how to throw to people in different routes, different combinations, and that's how we grew.
And it's funny, looking up, doing some research for this interview, Coach, found a story about going into this season, how Jabari kind of took it upon himself with, some of the transfers that had come in, a lot of different guys kind of coming together and having him over to the house for a barbecue just to kind of get some of that team building together. How important has his leadership been, not just his on-field play?
Outstanding. This past year was sort of aberration in terms of we had about 7 guys move into the zone, suit up for us, and just being able to blend them in with the young men that we had. It was rough at first. Battling for positions is always tough at Wise High School, but Jabari got him in and at his house at a cookout and team building, without coaches saying that you had to get this done. He took it upon himself. I guess that's why he's going to Army.
Yeah, you talk about that, and obviously, anybody that's going to go to Army's got to have some good leadership qualities, and he's definitely a guy that's that way. Let's talk about the game. Obviously, Jabari had a pretty good game. It kind of came later when he put his stats up, but you come into this game, and it was somewhat a tight one early, really even into late in the second quarter when you guys started getting it going, but your defense really showed up. You got some turnovers that set up your first score and kind of cut down some drives that were promising for Quince Orchard. Tell me about that defense's performance and what they were able to do in that game.
Oh, that was outstanding, dominant. Bend but don't break at times. Then at times when we set the heat, the DBs locked up, played their man excellent. The young man was sniffing out certain plays and just being physical at the point of attack. In terms of points scored, his defense is right up there with some of the best ones we've had at Wise. They have some pretty good ones, but it was tough all night. Like I said, Q popped a couple plays. They kept fighting, getting back down. We always say 1st and 10, do it again. And we didn't rally to the football, and he did that all night.
Couple turnovers forced as well, as you mentioned, and again, just a good overall performance by that defense. Then your offense got it going, the running game as well. Talk about that balanced performance. I know that's what you kind of pride yourself in as you kind of change your offense around. You wanted more balance, and obviously you got it in that game. Talk about some of the performances by those offensive players.
Oh, it was outstanding. We talk about in years past, we was always 70. We thought we wanted to be 70-30, but we was typically 75-25. This year, we was pretty much, I think it was like 55-45. We were able to get so many people. This year we had so many playmakers. The running back, John Alvey, played outstanding. Tyree Jackson, Anthony Layton, Demetrius Morcell, Isaiah Hazel, all of those guys. They had opportunities to catch the ball last night all year long, and they made the most of their opportunities, believe it or not, Jabari Laws, he stood in there looking around, took an outstanding hit, waiting for Demetrius to get open when he caught it, after he came back and dropped one earlier. And that just shows the type of leader that Jabari Laws is, to hang in there and give a guy a second chance, wait for him to come open and get it to him.
And, Coach, it's funny, in some of the research I was doing for this, someone asked you about the most important thing about this team, and you didn't say talent, you didn't say anything else, you said selflessness. Explain that.
I mean, all year long. You know, these guys, each one of these guys, if they've got another high school, they could be the number one guy. To be great, you know, they was able to be self-sacrifice, give up themselves, put the team first. You know, team first. If you look at our stats all throughout the season, you would have one game, maybe Kyrie had 6 or 7 catches. The next game would be Anthony. The next game would be Dimitri. We went back and forth throughout the year. Last night, they were all able to get their hands on the football, so you worked yourself out. We always talk about the team. Put the team first. As a team success, you'll get individual success.
Talking to DaLawn Parrish, head coach of the Wise Pumas, second straight championship in the state of Maryland. Again, only the second team ever in PG County to accomplish that feat, so making more history at Wise. Coach, this year again, unlike last year where you guys had a few games really that challenge, and I'm sure, you know, the prep and games, there was challenges in games you guys come through, but final results this year, they were all pretty much blowouts. Going into the next year and kind of moving on, what does Wise have to accomplish next, considering how dominant you guys have been over the last 2 years?
Well, you know, each year is a different year. You set different goals. If next year's team's going to want to be as good as this last year's team and the team before that, you have to create your own identity. You got to keep growing. We talk about at Wise, we have a more responsibility to be the best person we could be to the next generation. And we look at it the same way in our program. Each individual has to be the best they can be, and each team has to be the best they can be. You're competing within yourself. You're competing against those that came before you.
Coach, you mentioned how important Jabari Laws has been to your program. He leaves. Does a guy like that significantly change how you have to approach things, you know, stylistically, other ways? Or is at this point it's just kind of let's go ahead and figure out what we have and go play ball next year?
That's really what you have to do. We have the next man up mentality. You know, we'll pull from the strengths of the next man up and implement that into our offense. Right now, the offense has grown so much through Jabari that we pretty much know what the skill set takes for the offense to get done, and we'll just take the next man and grow on that, and hopefully it can be even more effective.
One last one for you, DaLawn. You know, again, doing a little bit of research. I saw a couple years ago you were up for the job out in Massillon, Ohio. Obviously, one of the great high school football programs in America. You got a really good job at Wise as well. But personally, for you, is there ever a scenario you could see yourself maybe again moving on to somewhere else, or is Wise the place that you really want to be?
Wise is my home. You know, I've grown as a person, as a coach there. Our players, I have a commitment to them. I really don't see another high school out there, but, you know, you say that, and then something else pop up, you know. As an individual, you want to grow as a person yourself. So right now, I can't see anything better than where I'm at.
That was Wise head coach DaLawn Parrish. Hear interviews like that one every week during the football season on my show, The Final Drive, which can be found right here on DMVSTREAM.com. As DMV Stream is your home for the best high school sports content in the D.C. area.